Stronger Than Before, a journey through cancer and beyond. I created this video to help other cancer patients with the struggles and what to expect in the coming days, weeks, and months. I am a two-time survivor, and I hope this gives you comfort and support. The day everything changed. There are moments in life that split time into before and after. For many cancer survivors, that moment is the diagnosis. It's often not dramatic. It can happen in a doctor's office, over a phone call, or after a routine checkup. But it's a moment that redefines your world. Everything you thought you knew about your body, your plans, and your future suddenly becomes uncertain. In that space of not knowing, fear grows roots. This book is not just about surviving cancer. It's about the transformation that happens through the struggle. It's about the raw truth, the pain, the fear, the small victories, and the strength you don't know you have until you have no other choice. Whether you're just starting your journey, supporting a loved one, or reflecting as a survivor, this book is here to walk beside you. It's part memoir, part guidebook, and part love letter to the resilience of the human spirit. Chapter 1, Diagnosis, the Shock and the Silence. It starts with a feeling. Maybe it's a lump, a persistent cough, unexplained fatigue, abdominal pain, or just something that doesn't feel quite right. Most people don't expect the word cancer to enter their lives. It's a word we hear in movies or read in stories, a villain that haunts other people. But then suddenly, it becomes your reality. The moment of diagnosis is surreal. Doctors use words like biopsy, malignant, stage, and treatment plan, while your mind is still stuck on one word, cancer. You try to listen, but everything becomes a blur, like sound underwater. You might nod, you might ask questions, or you might just sit there in shock, unable to process what's happening. Some people cry immediately, others go numb. There's no right way to react. Telling your loved ones is its own kind of heartbreak. Watching their faces as they absorb the news can feel just as painful as hearing it yourself. Calling them on the phone and hearing their voice change to sniffles and crying. And yet, it's often in these early moments that strength begins to show itself, not in grand gestures, but in the quiet decisions to show up for your next appointment, to face the unknown, to fight. The silence after the shock is filled with questions, but slowly, it starts to fill with something else too, determination. Chapter 2, Understanding the Enemy, What Cancer Means. Once the word cancer has entered your life, the next step is often a crash course in medical terminology, biology, and statistics. Suddenly, you're expected to understand what type of cancer you have, what stage it's in, how it behaves, and what your options are. It's overwhelming. For many, it feels like being handed a complex puzzle with the stakes set impossibly high. A box filled with cut-out circles and you're given square pegs. It feels impossible. Doctors will talk about pathology reports, hormone receptors, scans, and markers. You may hear about chemotherapy, radiation, surgery, immunotherapy, or clinical trials. These aren't just treatments, they're lifelines. And while your care team tries to lay everything out logically, it's still an emotional storm. You will ask Dr. Google everything, looking for hope, answers, or even just something that makes sense. But sometimes all you find is more fear and more unanswered questions. Yet in understanding the enemy, there's also power. The more you learn, the more involved you can be in your decisions. Some people choose to know every detail. Others prefer to trust their doctors and focus on healing. Both paths are valid. Cancer is not one size fits all. Every diagnosis, every body, every story is different. What matters most is that you begin to feel like you're not just a patient, you're a person in the fight, and you're not powerless. Talking with doctors helps tremendously, if you have that luxury. Chapter 3, Building a Support Team. Cancer is not a journey meant to be taken alone. From the moment of diagnosis, one of the most important things you can do is build a support team. This isn't just about doctors and nurses. It's about the people who will stand beside you when you're too tired to stand alone. The ones who will sit in waiting rooms, cook meals when you can't, cry with you when you need to cry, and laugh with you when it feels impossible to laugh. Your medical team will become a huge part of your life. Oncologists, surgeons, radiologists, nurses, and therapists form the front line in your fight. Trust and communication with them are vital. Don't be afraid to ask questions, to get second opinions, or to say, "I don't understand." This is your life. You deserve to be heard, respected, and cared for with compassion. From a personal experience, if you don't mesh well with your doctor, ask for another one. Your emotional support system is just as crucial. Family, friends, co-workers, faith communities, praying, cancer support groups. These people will be your strength on the hard days. And sometimes, they may surprise you. Some friends might drift away, unsure of what to say, while others step up in ways you never expected. Let them in. Accept help. It doesn't mean you're weak, it means you're human. And in times like these, connection and faith can be some of the most powerful medicines of all. Chapter 4. Treatment begins. The fight gets real. When treatment begins, reality sets in. The fight against cancer isn't just emotional anymore, it becomes physical. Whether your treatment plan includes surgery, chemotherapy, radiation, immunotherapy, or a combination of them all, each step can feel like entering a new battle. You prepare, you try to be brave, and still, there's fear. It's okay to be scared. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's showing up anyway. The first chemotherapy session or radiation appointment is often the hardest. You walk into a sterile room with fluorescent lights and unfamiliar machines, and somewhere deep inside, you wonder how much of yourself you'll lose. Hair, weight, energy, appetite, these are just some of the visible losses. But there are invisible ones too. Confidence, independence, normalcy. It's not just a physical toll, it's emotional and spiritual. Some days you may feel like a warrior, other days barely human, so sick you can't walk. Still, treatment is not just destruction, it's a rebuilding process too. Every pill, every infusion, every moment spent in a hospital chair is a declaration. I'm still here. I'm still fighting. Over time, you start to learn your rhythms, what helps you recover, what days are worse than others, what little comforts make a big difference. A favorite blanket, a playlist, a friend who texts every appointment day. You begin to adapt. And even in the chaos, you start to find strength in the routine of surviving. Chapter 5. Body, Mind, and Spirit. Surviving the side effects. Side effects hit hard. They can come out of nowhere or creep in slowly. One day you feel like yourself. The next, you're too weak to get out of bed. Nausea, hair loss, weight changes, fatigue, brain fog, nerve pain. There's no handbook that prepares you for the toll treatment takes on your body. It's frustrating to feel like you're fighting for your life while losing parts of the life you knew. But cancer doesn't just attack the body, it pushes the mind to its limits. Anxiety, depression, fear, and grief all find their way in. You mourn the version of you that was strong, energetic, carefree, and it's okay to feel that loss. Therapy, meditation, journaling, faith, and support groups can be lifelines. Even just talking to someone who gets it, another survivor, can remind you that you're not alone in the mental war that follows the physical one. Healing the spirit is just as essential, whether through faith, nature, art, music, or simply sitting in silence. Many survivors find moments of peace and clarity even in the midst of pain. You learn to appreciate small things. A warm meal, a walk outside, a good laugh on a bad day. You begin to see that survival isn't just about enduring treatment, it's about finding ways to feel alive in the middle of it all. And that's where real strength grows. Chapter 6. The emotional roller coaster. Cancer doesn't come with just one emotion. It brings all of them. Some days, you're hopeful and strong. Other days, you're angry, terrified, or numb. And sometimes you feel everything at once. It's a roller coaster with no map, no warning signs, and no clear finish line. You might feel guilty for being sad or weak for being afraid, but none of these feelings make you any less brave. They just make you human. There's grief in this process. Grief for your old body, your former life, your lost time. And there's fear too. Fear of scans, of bad news, of recurrence. The what-ifs can be loud. They sneak into quiet moments, robbing you of peace. That's why it's so important to find tools to manage the weight of it all. For some, it's talking to a therapist. For others, it's writing, art, prayer, or movement. Even small rituals, like making tea or watching a comforting show, can become anchors on the rough days. Then, there are moments of joy, and yes, they do exist. A friend's unexpected visit, a scan that brings good news, a day when the pain is light and the laughter is real. These moments shine even brighter because of the darkness. They remind you that emotions, like the tide, come and go. And in surviving the storm, you begin to realize something powerful. You are stronger than you ever knew, even when you're falling apart. Chapter 7: Milestones and Setbacks. The cancer journey is rarely a straight line. It's a winding path of progress and setbacks, victories, and heartbreaks. Milestones like finishing a round of treatment, hearing the words tumor shrinkage, or ringing the bell bring hope and relief. They feel like proof that your pain wasn't for nothing. These moments deserve celebration, no matter how small they may seem. Each one is a step toward reclaiming your life. But just as there are highs, there are unexpected lows. A treatment that stops working, a scan that shows something new, a side effect that worsens. These setbacks can feel like punches to the gut, and they often hit hardest when you're already exhausted. It's easy to feel like you're back at square one, but you're not. You're still in the fight, just facing a new round. Setbacks are part of the process, not the end of it. With time, you start to learn how to hold both things at once: joy and fear, hope and uncertainty. You start to realize that progress isn't always about moving forward. It's about showing up, even when it's hard. It's okay to cry after bad news. It's okay to celebrate the good days, even if you're scared of what's next. This chapter of your life is not defined by perfect outcomes, but by your ability to keep going, one breath, one step, one milestone at a time. Chapter 8: Healing and Recovery. When treatment ends, most people expect a sense of celebration, but what often comes instead is confusion. The battle may be over, but the war lingers in the body, mind, and heart. Healing isn't instant. It's a slow, uneven process. Scars, both visible and invisible, remind you of everything you've been through. Fatigue may still cling to your bones, and emotionally, you might feel lost. After months of being in survival mode, it can be hard to figure out how to live again. Recovery isn't just about getting back to who you were before. It's about becoming someone new. Your body might feel different. Your relationships might change. Your perspective definitely has. You may find yourself reevaluating priorities, shifting your focus, or setting boundaries that once seemed unthinkable. There's a deep wisdom that comes from facing your mortality, and it often changes how you move through the world. Still, healing can be beautiful. It's in the moment you take your first walk without pain, when you eat a favorite food again, when you laugh so hard you forget, just for a second, what you've been through. Recovery is full of these quiet triumphs. And even though cancer leaves a mark, it also leaves behind something else: resilience. You survived. And now you get to rebuild with new strength, new gratitude, and a new chapter ahead. Chapter 9: Life After Cancer. The new normal, surviving cancer, doesn't mean everything goes back to the way it was. In fact, most survivors will tell you there is no going back. Instead, you learn to live in a new normal, a version of life shaped by what you've been through. It's a life where you may still carry scars, take medications, go to regular checkups, and live with the shadow of what if. But it's also a life filled with deeper meaning, sharper perspective, and a profound appreciation for the present. This phase brings its own challenges. People around you might assume you're all better, but inside, you may still feel fragile. There's often pressure to return to work, to be upbeat, to move on. But healing is still happening, even if it's not visible. You might struggle with fear of recurrence, survivor's guilt, or identity shifts. Who are you now that you've survived something that tried to break you? But this new normal can also be freeing. You're no longer the same person, and that's not always a bad thing. You've learned what matters most. You know how strong you are. You've seen the worst and made it through. So now, you begin to rebuild, slowly, intentionally, with a deeper understanding of who you are and what you want out of this life you fought so hard to keep. Chapter 10: Finding Purpose Through Pain. For many survivors, the cancer experience leaves a lasting question: why did this happen to me? While not every story has a clear answer, some survivors begin to find meaning in the pain. The experience becomes more than just a personal battle. It becomes a calling, a chance to make a difference, to live with purpose, to turn suffering into strength. Some survivors become advocates, raising awareness, fundraising for research, or supporting others going through treatment. Others write, speak, or create, turning their stories into something that can help heal others. Even small acts, like comforting someone in a waiting room or sharing your journey honestly, can ripple out in powerful ways. Pain, when shared with purpose, becomes a form of healing not just for you, but for the world around you. Purpose doesn't always mean changing careers or making grand gestures. Sometimes it's simply about living differently, being present, loving harder, saying no to things that drain you, and yes to things that nourish you. Cancer may have broken parts of you, but it also uncovered a depth you might never have found otherwise. And in that depth, many survivors discover something sacred, a reason to keep going, not just because they survived, but because now they truly know how to live. Chapter 11: Giving Back, Becoming a Light for Others. Once you've survived the storm, something incredible happens. You become a lighthouse. Your journey, with all its pain, fear, and hope, becomes a guiding light for others, just beginning theirs. Whether you realize it or not, your story holds power. The simple act of saying, "I've been there," can be enough to pull someone else out of the dark. Giving back doesn't have to be big or public. It might mean volunteering at a hospital, offering a listening ear to a newly diagnosed friend, or writing an honest social media post that reaches someone silently struggling. You don't need to have all the answers. Just your presence, your honesty, and your empathy can mean everything to someone who feels alone in their fear. By supporting others, you also continue to heal. There's strength in community, in shared understanding, in being part of something greater than yourself. You may have walked through hell, but now you carry a torch, and with it, you can help someone else find their way. Conclusion: stronger than before. Cancer may have marked you, knocked you down, beat you up, but it didn't define you. You are more than a diagnosis, more than a patient. You are a fighter, a survivor, a soul reborn through fire. This journey reshaped you, not into someone broken, but into someone brave. You faced fear and kept going. You endured pain and chose hope. You lost pieces of yourself, but found deeper truths in the aftermath. And now, you are living proof that life after cancer can be rich, beautiful, and deeply meaningful. So breathe in this life. Live it with intention. Love harder. Speak louder. Rest when you need to, and rise when you're ready. You survived, and now you get to thrive. You are, and always will be, stronger than before. God bless you and your families. Stay strong. From one cancer survivor to another, never stop fighting. I love you. Thank you.